Leo. All right. Let's see. What are we doing today? We are going to be doing an April 2020 reading. I don't want to distract you. Oh, Five of Swords, Three of Swords. Sorry. My Venus is in Leo. Let's see what's going on here. Yes. Right. Okay. I know what I should be playing now. So I'm going to shuffle the cards for Leo for April through May 21st, 2020. And then I'm going to put on your playlist for this reading. I'm getting, a specific thing that I need to play. First, I was like giving you like all of these other different sort of like pop things, and it just kind of like didn't really work. It's going to compete with my voice. I'm going to put on something that Leo can kind of like get into. Two of Wands. Okay, here we go. Let me just find that. Perfect. Da da da. There we go. Gotcha. Okay, everybody. So I am going to be using the Druid Crafts Tarot. And then I'm also going to be using the Runes Oracle deck. Right? This is what those look like. I'm going to use the Runes Oracle. And I'm also going to be using the Romance Angels Oracle deck around the time we get to the Venus position. And I'm also going to be pulling from the Keepers of the Light Oracle deck by Kyle Gray. So I've shuffled your cards and I have cut the deck. I'm going to go ahead and lay them out. I just saw what was at the bottom of the deck, and I think that it actually is, something going on there. Bam, da da da, da da da. Alright, so let me go ahead and flip over the deck and read the card that's at the bottom. Alright, so it's the Ace of Pentacles, and this is good because this is the initiation, it's the introduction. It is sort of like the presentation or the, the presentation of something. Something that appeals to you and something that you can kind of like measure as something that is a start, right? So you feel like it's a start. I feel like it's also an achievement as well, right? An achievement with that has to do with the process or something of value that is being gained, right? Because it isn't a reduction of something, it is an addition of something, or it is something coming, into focus that can be measured, or something is being seen and measured here. And it's something that is important, right? It has to do with time, and it has to do with the right time. It also has to do with timing, okay? And this is something solid, right? Just in time. Okay, so let me go ahead and flip over the center card for you. My Venus is actually in Leo. Queen of Swords is at the top or at the center of the reading, which is Cardinal Air, and that is talking about Libra energy. And then this is also talking about the Three of Swords, which came up in the pre-shuffle next to the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is Aquarius. Okay? Anyway, the Queen of Swords is related to the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is talking about responsibility in knowing or understanding information, or, responsibility in communicating, perhaps talking, maybe. Um, Maybe you want to share your ideas with someone, or maybe you want to express your ideas. These could be very creative ideas. I think that before you express these ideas, maybe you should measure how you are going to express them so that you are expressing them in a meaningful way. Because when you express yourself through communication, we are hoping that it is going to get us to a place gradually, right? You want communication to sort of get you from one stage to the next. It's almost like if you're looking for directions, they're going to tell you, A, B, C, D, make a right here, make a left there, keep straight, third light, that type of thing. So we're looking at the details of something. We're looking at the details of what's been said to you or what's been communicated to you. You're asking yourself, right? Because the Queen of Swords is related to the Three of Swords. You're asking yourself, is this the truth? And you might be telling someone that's not the truth. You might actually even be wondering what the truth is. Because the Queen of Swords is always sort of probing where the truth might really be. And the Queen of Swords is directly related to the Three of Swords, as by the Empress. And that's Saturn in Libra. I have a responsibility to know the truth so that I can relate to the situation or the environment as such. How can I be fully present if I am not fully informed? Right? Let's see what... Actually, before the challenge, I want to pick your runes card. Okay, here we go. Right? How can I be fully present if I'm not fully informed? How do you expect me to know if you don't tell me? Right? That type of thing. And then it's also kind of like what I know that I may not be telling you, right? Or what I'm thinking that I may not be telling you. Or vice versa. This could be for someone that you're dealing with, or maybe even a cross-watcher, what they are thinking that they are not telling me. You know? Risk in something. Ehwaz. This talks about fearing something that you don't necessarily need to, right? It's kind of like the anticipation of something is getting so great and so intense that it almost is kind of like the fear of what might be approaching is weakening your clarity. It's fogging your clarity of what you're capable of, you know? It's inner demons. It's being held back by the inner demons, whatever those are. It might even have to do with past wounds, healing from something, you know? The truth about something. Elephant in the room kind of thing. Right? Because this has a very elephant in the room type feel. Let me read this for you guys because I feel like it's worth it, to not just interpret this one in particular, but read it for you. Let's see. Now there's another card that sort of looks like it has that spelling, but I want to find this one in particular. I want to be, here we are. Obscurity. Ihwaz is linked to the yew tree, which in the Germanic world is associated with death. The card depicts a skeleton tormenting a man who was tied to a pole. However, the man appears to be quite strong and perhaps will be able to free himself. So, how are you being tormented? And how are you being tormented unnecessarily? How have you been? Why have you been? Are you doing this to someone? This card speaks to us of inner strength and the efforts we must undertake to achieve radical and painful changes, as well as defend ourselves against attacks. The card also speaks of our dark side. All of us have one, and recognizing it is an important step in getting to the root of ourselves. Honey. So you might even be recognizing someone else's dark side, which is bringing out your dark side. Because we're all mirrors. Oh my goodness gracious. But we are getting to the root of something. Look, the bones. The root of something is obvious. It is the elephant in the room, and we can see to the saturated depths and the layers down to the bone. We can see. Transparency. We can see. Let's think about our ability to defend ourselves from the attacks of others. How much do we know ourselves and our self-destructive tendencies? And how much do you know others? Ehwaz makes us strong, courageous, introspective, and helps us examine and overcome our deepest fears. Very fixed energy. And this card is number 13. So there's a sense of power here. There's a power struggle that's going on, right? And it is creating an obscure environment that makes things anticipatory and makes things sort of light and dark, light and heavy. And it's almost kind of like all of these close calls, in a sense. What's going on with the obscurity? Where's the truth here? What are we learning? What are we understanding about our deepest fears and our deepest struggles, right? Our deepest concerns. Because the Queen of Swords is definitely concerned as well. You know? She's concerned with her feelings, others' feelings, her thoughts, and the thoughts of others. Okay? And what she is learning, what they, are learning from the experience. Navigating through it. Growth. Knowledge is expansion. I do need to know more. I do expect to know more. I'll understand when I know more. But you don't get to choose how I react or respond. Respond. Or what I say. Just because you may not want to hear what I have to say doesn't mean that I shouldn't be saying it or I shouldn't say it. Let's look at the challenge or the immediate influence. The sun. Wow, this is you. Okay. So this is creativity. This is vitality. right? This is also exposure, okay? So with the Queen of Swords being here and then the Sun crossing the Queen of Swords, this is bringing light and exposure by way of communication or by way of what is being seen, what is obvious. Didn't I say the elephant in the room with this card here? And the elephant in the room is definitely the Sun card, what is obvious, right? But it's also what might be trying to be hidden that is obvious. Just because Pluto is exalted in Leo. So there is wisdom here, there is growth, there is learning, there is aptitude for growth and learning, there is potential as well for growth and learning when the truth is really examined, understood, talked about, shared, all of that. So we're dealing with the clarity of things here. We're trying to clarify things. We're really trying to open things up. We're trying to see in a positive way. And the Sun is actually bringing positive energy to whatever might happen in the rest of the reading, you know? Just because it does do that. So, I feel like you've reached a level of completion in your spirit, perhaps, and you are feeling renewed, right? From that completion or from that processing of this, this how you have been processing this journey. You're now going to another level, right? And that's why we have the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, because it's like, now, okay, great, we're at a new start. And the Sun is definitely bringing energy to that sense of a new start, right? You're not feeling restricted here with the Sun, the Sun being crossed, the Queen of Swords is like you're open for communication. You're definitely, you're totally ready. You're open for it, right? Also, what are you doing with your time and your energy? Okay? We're bringing focus to that opportunity to do more with your time and more with your energy, right? We're also thinking of spreading, wisdom, and we're also thinking of spreading light as well, okay? Knowledge, creativity for sure. What are the many different ways, that we can sort of tap into a different part of ourselves, right? It's kind of like the Sun card is like always finding a facet or a part of yourself that has never been explored by you, you know? And that's kind of what's very positive about this. I feel like the energy that you're dealing with right now is you're like, there's something good about us always being able to discover something, it always feeling new in a different, new in a different way. The truth is we do have to allow ourselves to grow so that we can show ourselves, as the Sun card, the respect, right? It's kind of like we respect ourselves when we allow ourselves to grow. We respect ourselves a little bit more when we raise our expectations of ourselves and we achieve, our goals that those expectations were based on, you know, that type of thing. So then you start to see what you're made of, and then you start to see the value in yourself, right? And when you start to see the actual value in yourself, you then start to appreciate others around you because you actually see the value in them too. It's really strange. Not strange, actually, but it's hard for people to connect with this type of mentality or this type of energy because I feel like, it's like the king, right, ruling, or the queen ruling, and people thinking that they don't understand because they separate themselves from everyone else, or they might make it seem as though they are different or more special than everyone else. And then everyone else may not feel like they can connect with that energy or that light that that person might hold, just because they can't see past something that might be artificial, right? To a degree. But it's like, yes, you have to see past that part, because there really is something that is a real light here. There's something to really actually be appreciated. Once you can like see past all the stuff, you know, everything that's illuminated around you that you can see, everything that is illuminated around me that you can see, it you know, it can go away, and I would actually still be right here, you know, so you can still appreciate me and respect me for who I am, even without all of the things that might be good or bad about this experience. That was strange. Okay, I think I'm gonna move on because that was too much for me. Now let me look at the past card. Okay, the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is like the energy of like you know, oppressive energy, responsibility again, because the Sun card just came up. That's number 19, and when you add that 1 and that 9 together, you get a 10, right? And that's the growth of something so much that it has to change, right? So it has to change. And the Sun card says you have to change, right? That's the challenge. Things have to change. I have to change. We have to change, right? Things have changed, right? I have changed. That's the challenge. I have changed, and being faced with the truth of knowing that you have changed and trying to adapt to how you have changed and things have changed around you, you know, reconnecting, right? And it's kind of like when we disconnect, we have to reconnect, you know? And when we reconnect, we may have to reconnect in a different way. The Ten of Wands is mutable energy. It's Saturn in Sagittarius. So it's talking about feeling the weight of the responsibility, feeling the weight of the expectations that you have for yourself, and feeling the weight of the expectations that someone else may have placed upon you or may have on you, you know? Same difference. And this is also kind of like, you know, a challenging, a difficult path, you know? And I feel like before this moment that we are in right now, in the recent past, you were looking forward on the path and feeling like this is going to be hard. This is going to be challenging. This is going to be so many things that I don't know if I'm ready to deal with right now. Because look at him. Look at them. A lot of experience behind you. You've come a long way. And now we're here. Right? There's a lot of travel here. A lot of movement going on. You know, the joints are probably hurting. You feel like that. Over time, you're like, oh my God, I just feel so decrepit from the experience. You did. But now it's talking about regenerating. The sun is talking about regenerating. It's a 10, which this is the past, and this is a 10 here. Right, look at all that. Damn, I'm looking behind me. I see all that work that it took for me to get here where I am now. And I feel like there's still more moving forward. But in that realization of everything that you've experienced thus far, and realizing that there's more moving forward, you do realize that you have changed because you have experienced so much thus far. Identify with that being, that person, you know, that knowledge. How have you matured? How have you grown? How have you changed? How have you learned? What have you learned? What are you still learning? And the Ten of Wands talks about the weight of still learning. I'm still learning. I've learned a lot, but I'm still learning. And here I am, celebrating what I've learned, being open to learning more, understanding that I'm afraid, that I have fears, understanding that I also don't know what to expect, and that's why I have fears. But I'm ready, you know? I'm ready. What can I do? I just have to make the best of this experience, and that is potency. That's potential. You know, what can I make of this, right? How does this moment matter to me right now? How can I make this moment matter to me right now? Right? Let's look at the sun position, even though the sun card already came up. Five of Swords. Why is it coming up right here? I kind of had a feeling it was going to come up. But you know what? Let me show you to you. Here we go. Now we're dealing with Taurus energy. We're dealing with Aquarius energy. We're dealing with Leo energy. Okay. The severity of communication. Harsh communication against soft communication. This is Venus in Aquarius. Venus wants to experience pleasure. And in this card, because it's a 5 related to Taurus and the Hierophant, right? Venus wants to experience the pleasure within the reality that we are committed to experiencing, that we have subscribed to. Because we're here. This is the reality. But the reality is being kind of assaulted by the mismanaging of the communication process. It's difficult. It's hard to get along because this talks about groups too, the fives, right? Difficulties within a group, right? Challenges within the communication, feeling like I can't understand you. You can't understand me, or I don't want to understand you. You don't want to understand me. That type of thing. You're different. You think you're better than me, perhaps. Or you think you know more, or you might think that you just have a better way, better concepts, right? The Five of Swords is also talking about the difficulty of realizing how different you might be. The differences. The realization of the differences, right? And that's okay. But it's a harsh realization of different beliefs. It's a harsh realization of different beliefs of how to do things, how to express things, how to say things, and how to also coexist, how to work together as well. Some people could be having difficulties with work. Some people could be having difficulties with expression. Some people could be having difficulties or deep conversations or tough conversations through internet, online, texting, right? I feel like some of you wish that you could have a conversation face to face with someone, but that might be difficult. You might be wishing that you could be in the same space, but that might be difficult for most of us. But the Five of Swords is definitely, just kind of like, maybe feeling like I don't want to be around you right now, I don't want to talk to you right now, that type of thing. Keeping distance, right? The fives also talk about restriction. So maybe limited communication. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, but also Uranus. Sudden limited or sudden restricted communication. Let me look at the moon. Eight of Pentacles. Okay. The Eight of Pentacles is talking about the power, or it's talking about power and courage. It's talking about strength. It's talking about the strength to maintain some level of consistency about us, right? Keeping some level of consistency within ourselves. How are we going to maintain a consistent emotional and mental health, health, consistency, and it's also how are we going to make money, right? We're wondering, we're trying to navigate how different ways that we can bring in revenue here with the Eight of Pentacles. The moon is in Taurus right now, which squares you, right? So there might be some challenges within how we bring in revenue. And and Taurus is squaring you with Uranus being there right now, and the moon, right? So we're dealing with the emotional effects of the sudden changes that have taken place, and how we're really having to use a lot of our strength and inner courage and strength to really you know continue to stay motivated, right? To try to bring in revenue in a different way. But it's challenging doing this, you know, because we're dealing with a very deep inner struggle as well. Okay? Because intimate relationships struggle as well, and they affect us emotionally, which gets in the way of our motivation and making us feel encouraged. Courage, right? Feeling the will to do, feeling the will to achieve, right? And this is talking about a need to feel like you are achieving something, because this is in the moon position, this Eight of Pentacles card. And you're going to have to change your adaptation in order to do something different so that you can achieve something within your restrictions. Let's flip over your anxieties. Prince of Swords. So this is the equivalent of the Knight of Swords. So we might be dealing with some Gemini energy. Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Or maybe if someone has their Sun in their third house, right? Or yeah, definitely would say that. So you could just be dealing with someone like that. If it's a Gemini, or if it's someone with their Sun in their third house, then it's really communication, right? And it's kind of wanting to, it's you have anxieties about communication that just was kind of all over the place because it's mutable air. So it's kind of like coming in fast and furious because it's fire and it's air. And it's kind of like, you sometimes you can't take things back, or you can't take words back. And this kind of could even just be like thoughts coming in really quickly, right? Mutable thoughts, kind of worry as well, just this is almost like Mars in Gemini. This is almost like the Nine of Swords type of energy. But it's kind of like, it's like those thoughts aren't being kept in, right? Because that's a nine. They're actually being outwardly expressed, you know? So that's where the anxieties come from, you know? And the Ten of Wands is next to the Prince of Swords. So there's the road that comes from that. You know what I've learned, right? Because that was oppressive, right? That learning lesson was oppressive a little bit. It was heavy. It was weighted. There was a responsibility to realize something, to see something, to know something, to navigate through it, to get somewhere, right? We're actually trying to see if we can, how we can get somewhere still with all that's going on around us, right? It's kind of like we even feel alone with all of the things that we are going through here, even though we know that there is a world around us, even though we know that there is so much it's almost like sometimes we don't even see what's going on around us because we are just so in, you know? I don't know. I went backwards a little bit in the reading, but that's just kind of like where it goes. Yes! So you got the Six of Pentacles in your Mars position. So, you know, let's think of some creative ways to bring in some revenue. The sixes are related to the lovers, which is Mercury, and that's talking about reciprocity. It's talking about communion. It's talking about the continuation. So we have to think about the continuation, the flow of currency, you know, that type of thing. Whatever it is that you can do, to bring in money, to make money for yourself, because you know it's earned income with Taurus. And with the Six of Pentacles, it's all about security. You know, the goal is security, and we're focused on security, and we are determined to achieve and make things happen, right? The Six of Pentacles has that energy of providing for ourselves as well as providing for others. You know, there's also a need to sort of balance out some debts or balance out some sort of financial situations, maybe even like help, right? Help, getting help, that type of thing. So there's a lot of focus there. Service, being of service, right? So you're trying to take advantage of some services, that type of thing. It's saying be, you know, if you run into any sort of like complacency within the process, you know, just maintain your vigor, right? Try not to get too stuck when things start to seem like they're going all over the place, right? Um, but the Six of Pentacles is exaltation, and that is happiness. So this is to me saying that you are in this moment happier than you were before. There's something that is kind of like there's a coating of purity that you are feeling right now, right? So it's kind of like you may even be feeling a little bit softer because you are allowing yourself to see where it is that this is needed. You know, you're taking care of your needs as well. You know, you're being a little bit more aggressive about that, about taking care of the practical needs, right? That can be handled and dealt with, right? Very practical about that. That's exercising because Mercury rules the lungs and the respiratory system. The sixth, right? Um, the sixth house, which is Virgo, is talking about health, getting the right amount of sleep, drinking the right amount of water or enough, eating the right foods, that type of thing. But then it's also kind of like, feeding yourself with the right knowledge, uh, doing nice things for other people, just because it's good for the spirit, it's good for the psyche, it's good for, you know, you, because you create your reality. And when you start to do good things in your reality, then that means that your reality is good, right? Let's look at your Venus position, and then we're going to choose a Romance Angels Oracle card for you. Wow, in the Venus position. The King of Pentacles. That's right. I thought it was something else. It's that. Yes. The King of Pentacles. Taurus. But also a little bit of Aries. So what is this relationship that you might be having with the Taurus? Or you might be having with someone that might be stubborn, or that might be just a little bit selfish with the Aries here, or just might be very fiery, right? What's the passion that you have for this person? This could be a Capricorn. It could be a Virgo, someone or rising. It could be any sign, you know, they might just be exhibiting this energy, right? This essence of the King of Pentacles. This is sensuality, right? Definitely sensuality. It's, you know, spontaneity, okay? Spontaneity, sensuality. It is, also kind of like just predictability too. You know, so you could be predicting someone's behavior, or someone's behavior might be very predictable here, because the fire behind him, that is Aries, is behavior, and the Taurus energy is predictable. Okay? So it's like that type of thing. So you could be just kind of expecting someone to behave a certain way, or vice versa. The King of Pentacles is really focused on security and comfort. It's also kind of like an appetite too. You know, so you might be dealing with trying to bring more harmony and balance and pleasure into your life by really taking responsibility for all of the things that rely on you. You know, your finances, your body, your life, your family, everybody, your friends, all of this stuff here, right? King of Pentacles being Taurus, this talks about mature belief systems now. It talks about how, you know, you have changed your perspective, and therefore you have a more mature outlook, right? Okay? You have a more mature outlook. So this is kind of like I have kind of purified and burned away that old part of myself. It's interesting because, you know, there is a goat here. There is an Aries here, I believe that's what that is. A ram, sorry. But the King of Pentacles is Taurus, and it's 1/3 Aries, and look at this fire here. And the fire is purification. Meat eater. Actually, Tauruses, they graze as well. So some of you actually could be going vegetarian in some kind of way. You know, you possibly could be. Happy Earth Day. Happy New Moon in Taurus as well. So let's look at what this King of Pentacles energy is kind of saying to us through the Romance Angels. All right, flirt. Maybe you're flirting with somebody. Who are you flirting with? Who are you flirting with? If you're flirting with anybody, it's probably going to be online or over the internet. Keep an open mind, heart-to-heart conversations. What are you keeping an open mind about? You're keeping an open mind about having a heart-to-heart conversation. Maybe you're going to have a heart-to-heart conversation with somebody and it's going to make you sort of question like how you might be closed off in your own mind about something, you know? Or you may have had a heart-to-heart conversation with someone and it just kind of like raised your alarm or raised your eyebrows as to how you may have, you know, maybe you didn't give that person the credit, or maybe you didn't give that person and their experience the credit, the respect, or whatever that it deserved. Maybe you weren't seeing the value within someone's experience in order to kind of like respect them for what they went through or something like that. I don't know. Let's look at what the actual card is that you're gonna be. New love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Okay, so that's what that King of Pentacles is talking about right there. Okay, and that's why I pulled this card. It says you deserve love, you are lovable. So, if a new person has stirred your romantic feelings and you feel like you deserve love, then maybe you're going to see where this goes. You know, maybe you're in a more mature place right now, or maybe there is going to be the, you know, opportunity for this to mature, being that the only way that people really can connect right now, you know, maturely, is just by talking over the phone line or talking, you know, via internet or communicating in that type of way. You know, SMS text. Uh, Online dating is probably fierce right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip over your online dating. That's something. And getting to know, right? Very easy to get to know somebody now because you don't have that pressure of sex or going out or meeting somewhere or doing any of that. So online dating, you can just kind of like just get into it if you want to. Prince of Pentacles. Okay, King of Pentacles going into the Prince of Pentacles. The Prince of Pentacles is the Knight of Pentacles, and that is talking about Virgo energy. So this is someone that, you know, might be intimidated by the prince. It's kind of like the King of Pentacles is intimidated by the Prince of Pentacles' ability to change it up, even though the King of Pentacles is very set and very mature and very and realized, it sort of sometimes gets a little bit jealous of that Prince of Pentacles energy of Virgo and a little bit of Leo too, because the Leo is 1/3 of the Prince of Pentacles. It's kind of like, well, I can continue to change things. I can, you know, shift and morph things. And sometimes when you want, instead of shifting and morphing and adapting and changing things, the King of Pentacles will just burn it or will just push through it and destroy it or tear it down instead of maybe adapting to the way this thing has now challenged it to maybe change and form or morph to it, to the new conditions, you know, because, yeah. So let's go ahead and flip over the future card. Six of Cups, Sun in Scorpio. This is the Sun being in its 8th house. And if it's not the Sun being in its 8th house from Aries, it is the Sun being in its 4th house. Because the Sun likes Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. So it's the Sun being in the 4th house from the place that it lives naturally. So this is talking about, you know, connections to the family, connections to the past by way of those intimate relationships that we share with the sort of connections to our lineage. And those are our parents. That is our family. You know, you are an extension of your family. You are an extension of the line of your ancestors. So the Six of Cups definitely brings focus to ancestry. You know, so some of you could definitely be really focused on ancestry right now. And even the youth, you might be even having some really deep thoughts, deep, intimate, feelings about, the generation that might be coming after you, right? Younger people in the family, and also older people in the family, too. I feel like you want what's best for your family. You want everything to go well in terms of, you want their lives to be fulfilling. You want them to have everything that they desire, you know? And your parents could be wanting what's best for you because it's a six and that's related to the lovers, you know? And the Six of Pentacles is talking about wanting and needing what's best. All of the sixes are talking about let's go for what's best. And not in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality. You're trying to create a quality life. You're trying to transform, right? You are admiring how things have changed, right? And also how things have transcended, right? Some things never change, and you can appreciate that. But then also at the same time, some things never change could be like you just kind of, you know, settling too. So this is saying don't settle. Don't settle. You're shown not to settle because you start off small and you grow and you get older. So you're not settling for anything. Okay? I don't want you to be settling for anything. Appreciate where you've come from and what you've experienced and what you've done. But there is a time to transform and change and transcend. You know, take what you've done and what you've experienced and what you've learned and where you've gone and what you've been and how you've connected with life and make it something else, because we're trying to get the most out of it, the best experience, the most. What are we getting the best? Are we missing out? You don't ever want to feel like that. That's Sun and Scorpio. I don't want to feel like I'm missing out on something. Are they getting everything that they deserve, that they need, that they want right here? They look like they're getting the most. I hope that they never feel like they missed out on anything. I hope that they never regret not having something right now when they look back at this time. How am I relating to that? That's an intimate relationship. That's one on a karmic level. That's an intimate relationship that you have with someone that they have with you that you don't even talk about. Just because it's not one that you talk about with them, it's one that you have with yourself that is, affected by them in a deep way. Okay, let's pull a Keepers of the Light Oracle card by Kyle Gray. No regrets, right? We don't want to have any. We want to just look back and be like, yes, that was fierce. I love it. And yes, and now I'm doing this. We don't want to be like, man, I wish that. What if I could just, if they would have, right? Praying so much. Look, Archangel Michael and Master Jesus, you better work. We better work. You better work. Can I say that? Here we go. Saint Germain, karma releasing. Move beyond drama. Create your own path. Make room for good energy. Karma releasing. Saint Germain. Beautiful color. Maybe you need some amethyst. What other crystal is purple? Lavender. Other than amethyst. Right? Alright, so that was your card. Karma releasing. We're going through some karma. Some karma is being released. Kenny. Alright, so let's see. Your last card. Okay. The High Priest. Which is Taurus energy. Which is belief systems. Which is maturity. Which is, understanding that there are some things that I don't know. That I will figure out. Understanding that, if I exist within my reality, then I will understand my reality. I am inspired by my reality, the positive and the negative. And I have to at least see the negative. I have to experience some displeasure. Because if all I knew was pleasure, then how would I know anything? How would I know the joy of getting past a difficult time? How would I know the joys of achieving something that maybe people didn't think that I could do because of where I came from, or what I was born into, or maybe what happened to me, or maybe what I inherited, or maybe who my family was, or maybe the stuff that I liked, or maybe what I looked like. You know what I mean? All of those things, good and bad, right? We love what we look like. Some people hate what we look like, you know? We love our family, right? And we love ourselves. Some people, they don't get along with us like our family does. Your family's gonna love you no matter what, right? Remembering that, remembering where you came from, but understand that where you came from isn't where you were meant to stay. With jobs, with yourself, with family members, with friends, right? With kids, with children. For some of you, you know, some of your kids, if they're in high school age going to college, they're going to be at home for a little bit longer than you anticipated. Happy Earth Day. The High Priestess is definitely, he has to live with himself. He has to um, report to his own conscience, which is God, confession, that type of thing, prayer, meditation, meaningful ceremony, that type of thing, right? ceremonial order. So we're thinking and we're being, we're becoming that, we're doing that. Ceremonial order. Creating that consistency that brings you security, knowing what to expect, getting grounded. Thanks, Leo. My ruling planet is in Leo, and Vedically I have 3 planets there. Yeah. If you would like to get a personal reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment on the video. Definitely send a donation to the channel if you'd like. I will leave that information in the description box. Follow me on Instagram, NYC Kendrick. That's my personal account. That's more fitness oriented and, just fun personality things. And then the Providence Tarot page is the page that is geared towards tarot astrology and all things spiritual. I also have a food account. It's called The Tongue Pop. Follow that if you'd like. And then I have another account that just sort of depicts different scenes and images from the city of New York. And that one is Kendrick NYC. I'm doing a special right now. It's 20 minutes for $20. And then there's a lower tier of that as well, which is 10 minutes for $10. Email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Thanks.